Now, without further ado, introducing the Tale of Tevildo, inspired by the Tale of Tinuviel by Tolkien, written and narrated by Timothy Vavra. In the forest of old Valinor dwelt an Oromondi, a forest spirit imbued with the vibrant nature of the Feywilds, where Manwë, brother of Melko, would tend to the gardens throughout the wilderness, especially during the spring of Orda. The gale force, the flora, and the fauna were at Manwë's command, and he took great serenity in tending to the flowers and the spirits of his garden during his brother Melko's long imprisonment. Though those ages he was glad to have Tevildo's company, and to confide to him, and to teach him, and in time to learn from him. When in the beginning the Ainur were created, and Melko among them, he was specially remembered as he was created, to encompass all a portion of the knowings of the other Ainur, so that he knew in his brother's heart, Manwë, elder king of the Ainur, whose most joyful forest courtier was the Fey spirit Tevildo, where he had lived and learned from his brother in the times during Melko's great imprisonment. He had found that Tevildo had grown more wilful, spirited, and bold, and desired to make a liege lord of him, so that he might make use of his unusual potentialities. In the time of the creating of the Ainur, Eru Iluvitol imbued Melko with a passion for possession over the very flame imperishable that bore him into life, and in so doing the destiny that unfolded before the Ainur, the theft of the Silmarils, Vaynir's bane, the darkening of Valinor, and the sorrows and the glories of the ages to come were all preordained. Melko in his deeds before and after his long imprisonment, and his journeys into the void to search for the flame imperishable, and how they transformed him, was his sacrifice greatest of all the Ainur, and through the lines of his servants, Tevildo and Sauron among them, shared his unfair fate by their star-crossed predestination. Each discord in the tale is part of the whole cloth of the symphony of the music of the Ainur, and the tale that led to all that followed. By the time of Tevildo's fall and the record of Melkor's banishment, Melkor retained two of the three Silmarils from his crown. Upon reflection, he had to admit it was a loss endurable, and that his spirit was stronger for it, having made much in his time. At the time of Tevildo's decline, he was feeling merciful, though no storytellers before will have chronicled any notion of mercy or grace in the will of Melkor's spirit. Inwardly, he was relieved of the pressure of the third Silmaril in his crown. Banishing could be a kindly sentence, and in so banishing Tevildo, he so liberated him. For the life of a lord liege is taxing indeed, and he had corrupted Tevildo, free from the influence of Melko's ambition and the presence of his golden collar, forged in malice and greed, and accentuating him so and without, he sought refuge in the forest of his birth. There he found a pool and a stream of light, and alas to the light drunk by the dread fight spider of his former master and Goliath. Though Tevildo did not know the source of the waters, healing light, he lay in the misty streams encircling him, healing him and washing over him, before, during, and henceforth, and Tevildo emerged as if he was a cat reborn, and sought refuge. Thereafter, the gently luminous stream in the old forest of healing service was known by those it helped as the stream of Varda, and the cats who were Tevildo's brothers in service, though so cursed, were cured by the healing waters. Cats made a pilgrimage thereafter to the forest of Valinor, to receive the blessing of the healing waters of the stream, blessed by the last of Varda's light, imbued and redeemed by the dread spider's theft. So freed, Tevildo's desire grew great to look upon bucolic, rustic, pastoral glades, before his eyes fresh vistas beyond the realms of Middle-earth. There he ran across the rivers rushing throughout the banks of the season. All along their banks the swords and the valleys of the river Moss, that his ancestors dwelt henceforth, and he settled into a modest cabin with a green-eyed cat it is said he started a family with. In the timeless halls of Eru Iluvatar, the one knew it was best for it to be so. And there is the tale of Tevildo. I wanted to be able to give a little summary afterwards, but I already did earlier. There was a bit of a network issue, but very happy to talk about it a little bit. Um, so this was inspired by the Tale of Tinuviel. I wanted to do something to tie in these loose ends of saying, well, here are these characters I feel like unfairly maligned, and especially in the circumstances which, oh, in the overarching Tolkien mythos of, you have all these stories, and they're all caused by this dreaming of the one in the timeless halls, and so in this circumstance, when Melko, if you look at the mythos, is imbued with more of the passion for the longing for the imperishable flame, and then you further inspect the mythos, and Tolkien himself believed there's like the Orcs and the trolls and the goblins and the kobolds. They have none of the. They are not imbued with the flame imperishable in Tolkien's eyes. But maybe it could be that in the circumstances of this story, with you have this impetus for him to go and search in the void for this imperishable flame, it could entirely be that it was because he wanted to give it to these orcs and these goblins and these kobolds and these trolls who he commanded, who he claimed, the Tolkien himself claimed that they weren't imbued with none of it, which is a little unfair, I think. So I wanted to tie in all the loose ends, and you know, the draining of the well of Vorda, and the two trees, the felling of the two trees, the theft of the Silmarils, all these crimes, and you say, well, in the end, well, this spider, the Goliath spider, who was Melko's servant, you could say, oh, well, this spider, in the end, drank those from those wells. Where did this luminous water go? This healing water go? When she consumed herself after the fall of Gondolin. And so in my story, she goes back to the old forest of Valinor, and she consumes herself. And then the rest of that is, of course, it's not all of the water she drained, but it's enough to make a healing stream for Tevildo to lay in to get. It's like almost like a baptism story where he gets healed by it, and then all the other cats who were so cursed when he fell from, when the Dog Lord defeated him, it's like I felt, well, it's kind of unfair that they were all cursed. So I thought, here's a way for them to have a pilgrimage to remove the curse, and so to kind of tie up all these loose ends, because it was an early story, an early version of the Legendarium, and it was never really like the old version of the books that I had. That's the version that was there, and it was a charming little version, you know, that had the idea of having a cat prince and having these adventures. So that's why I wanted to have this video, and then furthermore, you can check out the rest of the things we do at Proffer and Prosper. We can check out the rest of the things we do. We have several other tales planned. I won't go into details here because I want to save them for the other videos. But I hope you're all well, and I hope you have a good day, and I hope you'll tune in for more broadcasts from the balcony. It's been a pleasure to share this original story.